welcome back to the hCG Diet Interviews with Everyday People. I have Linda with me today. We're going to talk about her hCG journey, and we're also going to discuss what she does to maintain, because she's been maintaining her weight loss from hCG for several months. Anytime I hear someone say they've been doing that, I'm like a little leech and I'm like, come here, tell me your secrets. Because I know we all want to hear from them and what they do, and different things work for different people. So welcome, Linda. Thanks for being with me today.
Thanks for inviting me. It's actually been 8 months that
Wow.
I've been maintaining. And my sister, who introduced me to you as my salvation when I was going through it, and to hCG in general, she's been a year and a half.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's great to hear too. Well, why don't you just tell us your basic stats in a nutshell so we have that frame of reference, your height, H, your weight loss with hCG, all that.
So when I started hCG, my preload weight was 154.5, and my load weight was 158.5. I ate like a pig. I'm 5 feet 3. I now weigh, this morning I weighed 128.5 pounds. And I am going to be 62 next month.
Awesome, that's fantastic. So you've lost, I'm trying to do the math right now. I don't know if you, so 154-ish to 128 is what, how many pounds is that? It's about 20
Um,
something
I
pounds.
know it's so
It's
silly.
close to 30. Hold on, I have my calculator. 154.5. We can't do math when we're on a video screen, okay? We could if we weren't, but okay, so
No,
20.
exactly. There you go. That's the reason. Well, because
That's
I
the
would cheat and
problem.
use my calculator, and that's my phone.
Yes, so 26 pounds. So that's fantastic. How was your size change with that with your clothing?
I was like wearing 12s and 14s, and now sixes and eights.
That's fantastic. 14, 12,
The
so
eights
sixes and
because
eights.
I'm bigger busted, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
didn't go away that much.
Well, that's good. That's good. Awesome. Very cool. So those were your results. And did you do injections or drops or what did you
I
do?
did injections.
Gotcha. Um, and how many round was that, one round or more than one round?
1 round. I did a 40-day round.
Gotcha. So you were able to lose that all in just the one round. Your 26
Actually,
pounds or
you know what? So my last injection day, I weighed 136.
oh, gotcha. So you lost a little additional weight since then?
Yeah, it just kept coming off. And I guess it happened to my sister that way too. She kept
Really?
telling me, "Don't freak out, don't freak out. When you stop, if when you're going through maintenance, you're going to lose more weight." And I did.
Wow, that's fascinating. And we'll talk a little bit more about what you did in phase three too that may have contributed to that. So actually 154 to 136 at the end of P2 and then down to 128 and a half or so now
Hmm.
in your maintenance. That's fantastic. Do you remember what dosage of hCG that you took by chance at all?
What's the standard that they usually give you? I was
Because
trying to
clinics,
remember.
yeah, because clinics typically dose higher is what
Yeah,
they'll
so it was a
prescribe.
clinic.
Yeah, so it may have been 200, but then some do
It wasn't
150
200.
IU,
It wasn't 200. It was it
like
was
1.150,
150.
like 15 units or 0.15, something
Yes,
like that.
that's what it was. And then
Gotcha.
I after some reading and listening to some of your stuff, I cut it back to 125.
Okay.
And at one point, I think I cut it down to 112.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, how did that feel, and why did you make those dosage adjustments?
I had, gosh, I'm trying to remember what was the prompting of that.
Like, did you have, like, was your hunger okay, and then maybe you started feeling hungry, which
That's
caused you to,
exactly what happened is
okay.
that, all of a sudden I was, doing really well, once I got past those first couple days, and I was like ridiculously hungry. And so I just decided to start playing with it a little bit based on stuff that I'd read on from you and
Yeah.
from a couple other places on websites.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Yeah, because it's true for you guys listening out there, the dosage is like the number one contributor to whether you're hungry or not. on hCG. And one of the things a lot of people misunderstand is they think that more hCG is what's going to cause less hunger.
And that's what
Um,
I thought till I heard that from you.
yeah, and it's
Um,
actually not. It's both too little and too much cause that same starving feeling. So, and now when you reduce the dosage, how did that affect you, how you felt? Did your hunger feel better?
yes, yeah. I think, it's funny because I forgot about all this until you reminded me. But when I decided to go to the 112, I felt like that was in the end kind of perfect. So
Really? That's nice
yeah,
to hear. And
yeah.
are you in menopause
I
since
had
P2?
a full hysterectomy, so I had surgical menopause. And so and I am taking hormone replacement, and so I did a bunch of reading about that as well. Plus, you had some stuff about menopause and the difference with menopause as to what your dosage should be.
Right.
I think that in some cases there it was as low as like 100 or 75 or something, and so
Yes.
that's when I started thinking maybe I'm overdosed because they don't ask that question in the clinic.
Gotcha. Yes,
Yeah.
this is really good information. So it is true, you guys. So, what happens is when you get into perimenopause and menopause, women's bodies in that hormonal state tend to produce varying, like fluctuating levels of hCG, actually, like more so than when you're not in menopause, from my research. And so what that means is that when you do the diet, because your body's actually already producing small amounts, in some cases, it's not going to be across the board, but in some cases, the regular dosage that feels best for most people might end up being too high for you, just like Linda was saying. So, and that's why, like Dr. Simeon's, he dosed people at 125 IU, and that's typically considered the lowest dosage that you would do. But women in menopause find that sometimes between 75 and 125 IU actually is more. So for you, 112 sounds like it
I would
felt
have never
perfect.
known it if not for your info, but
Well, I'm
it,
so glad because that makes
yeah.
such a difference in how you feel on the diet, right?
Oh my God, like all the difference in the world. Because when you're dosed right, and this is just my opinion, actually, it's not just mine, it's my sister's. And I have a friend, he is insulin dependent diabetic that's actually been able to go back onto pills from insulin because he lost so much from hCG. And
Wow.
I've heard them say that they wish they could feel the way they feel when they're on hCG all the time. And I
Yeah.
couldn't relate to it until I did it. But when it's dosed right, you feel amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. So that, yeah, for you guys, and if you're listening to this on the interview page, like I have more information on this at hcgchica.com/dosage. And there's all kinds of feedback from real people and how their dosage change affected how they felt, how to help you dial in your dosage, because I feel like that's one of the number one things that you need to do. Otherwise, this diet's going to be unbearable, essentially.
And
So,
it's funny because when I realized that it was too high, like all of a sudden, like if something switched, and I was like starving, and I'm like, what is different? What am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? So I started on the internet, went to
okay,
you,
good.
and the stuff that I read from you is what made me cut it back, and that was all I needed to do, and I was back to
Cool.
feeling,
Good
yeah,
again. Good. Sane. You're not going to chew off your
no.
kids' arms. That's good. Good. You know what? You mentioned that you are on hormone replacement, and did you
hmm
continue that while on P2?
I did.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
how?
take that much
Okay.
anymore, but I'm wondering maybe why I switched the dosage twice was because I only take it twice a week now, that maybe I had this fluctuation of my own hormones from the hormone replacement
Yeah.
while I was on the hCG.
Gotcha. Do you mind sharing a little bit of, just because so many women are, considering hormone replacement too at this stage? Like, do you do you feel like it's helped you? Like, what do you take? Do you mind sharing that?
No, I don't mind at all. It's a derivative of what Premarin is. I've been on a few different. When I first had a hysterectomy, I was on a progesterone and an estrogen,
Okay.
and it was too much, and it was messing with my blood. It was too much. I gained a ton of weight from it, and
Okay.
so I went to a female gynecologist. Highly recommend that. They get it. They've been through what you're going through. Um, but she put me on this much lower dose, and she trusted me to know my own body, kind of like how I played with the hCG dosage.
Nice.
to I wanted to only be on enough to not have those horrible hot flashes and
Gotcha.
to not wake up soaking wet in the middle of the night. So I regulate how much I take, and it is a prescription, but still I regulate what I take instead of taking it every night. I've been able to get myself to just where I'm not having hot flashes at work and having everybody stare at me, to taking it just twice a week, and that works for me. So,
That's great. Do you have any tips for other women who are like struggling with finding that balance, like just on how would they go about figuring that out, like how much to take or how did you
well,
do that?
because it's not going to injure you to take too little, too much is never good of
Yeah,
any kind of hormone, especially synthetic like this, but
yeah,
it's listening to your body. How do you feel? Are you sleeping okay? Are you crazy irritable, like almost like PMS? Are you waking up drenched with night sweats? All those great things we all get to go through. You just listen to your own body, because if you cut back, the worst thing that can happen is it didn't work and you need to go back on a little more. So
right,
that would be
gotcha.
my recommendation to
Okay,
that.
gotcha. So, and then just like adding a little bit, and then if you have a negative,
Hmm.
then cut it back a little. That makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Do you take like any testosterone too, or just the
Not
progesterone and
anymore.
estrogen?
No, I don't. I
Gotcha.
don't.
Okay. That's very helpful. Thank you. Because that's another can of worms, you know?
I
Like,
know.
but that's important too, just like you said, to long term.
Well,
Okay.
particularly when you're putting other things in your body, so you are
Hmm.
kind of changing your chemistry even more. So,
Yeah. No, that's really helpful. Thank you for that. For you, is it like a cream or is it an oral
no,
thing that
it's
you take?
oral
Or?
pill. It's a
Gotcha,
pill.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, good. Well, so getting to your P2 journey then, what protocol did you follow? You know, there's so many different ones these days. There's 500 calorie, 800 calorie, and all that different foods. What did you end up doing for phase two
You
yourself?
can lose your mind if you're a huge reader like me and a
Yes.
curious person. You can lose your mind because it's so different. So I have two really good friends in New York that have done this for years, and they're from Europe, and they follow the old protocol to the absolute T. 500 calories. They don't eat steak. They don't, they just. I couldn't live. I couldn't go through what they went through.
Yeah.
The clinic that I went to is a little more progressive, that you could mix your vegetables. Um, and I was on 600 calories a day.
Okay.
And honestly, I had a tough time ever even getting to the 600,
Okay.
mostly because things are just so boring. How much protein can you eat? There
Right.
was this like I had a tough time getting to 100 grams of protein every day.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was one of the things that they absolutely insist is the 100 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
Um, but so the vegetables were pretty much to the original protocol. Fruit, I've seen mixed stuff that you can't have an orange, but these guys let you have oranges. I lived on apples mostly. Apples
Gotcha.
were my savior. Trying to
Yeah.
think what else might have been different in the protocol. Oh, you could have turkey,
Okay.
and I know that in the original protocol you could not have turkey,
Right.
correct?
Yeah. So did you have some turkey yourself?
I did.
Okay. Like
And
ground turkey breast or something, or?
yes, I had turkey
Okay.
burgers almost every day for lunch.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's
Yeah,
good to hear. With the vegetables, I'll just throw out a few alternate protocol
sure,
vegetables just to
sure.
ask you. Did you have like broccoli, zucchini, mushroom, bell pepper?
I
Any of
had bell
those?
pepper,
Okay.
but I never had more than, I tried, like, I guess you could have 100, weight wise, 100 grams of
Okay.
vegetable at a meal.
Okay.
And I would never have more than like 50 of like a bell pepper. No
Okay.
zucchini,
Okay.
no squash family stuff, too
Okay.
starchy. But yes,
Yeah.
broccoli.
Okay. Broccoli.
Um, Toward the end, I did have some cauliflower rice.
Oh, okay. How did that go for you? Was that okay?
Um, a couple days I thought probably it wasn't the best idea when I got on the scale the next day, but then it was one of those catch up things where
Yeah.
then I lost. I'd sworn off, I'm not going to do this anymore because I don't like
Yeah.
the scale. But
Yeah.
then I did toward the end because I was just craving something to go with my food that was different than what I'd been eating. But
Sure.
mostly
Gotcha.
I used like lettuce wraps on my turkey burgers. I did have ground bison. My sister also
Nice.
had done ground
It's nice and
bison.
lean. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool. Very good. Okay. Did you use any sweeteners while you were on the diet at all, or
So that was another hard thing. I hate stevia.
do you?
Hate it.
Yeah.
And I was always the yellow packet guy, and you can't use the yellow packet. So I use sweet and low. Not a lot.
Yeah, but on occasion.
Yeah, on occasion I did.
Gotcha.
I wrestled with that. I wish I'd liked stevia because it would have made life easier.
I remember like I'm fine. My taste buds got attuned to it because yeah, I remember when I first was introduced to stevia like so many years ago by some naturopath guy, and I just it was disgusting.
It is
Just
to
like
me. It's funny because my sister's been using it well before anybody I'd ever heard of
yeah.
it, and fortunately she likes it. It just
Yeah, now I do. Now it's like actually pretty much almost the only sweetener I use, but I get it. Like I remember it just was so gross, so
that's so
it's
funny. I
such an
use
acquired taste.
erythritol or whatever.
Erythritol, yeah. Did you
You
use that
can't
on
you
P2 or no?
not P2. You're
You
not,
didn't.
but I
Okay.
did in P3.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
not
love
in P2.
erythritol.
Yeah. I
Well,
was too
good.
afraid.
Thanks
I
for
can't even
sharing.
tell the difference between that and sugar. That's all I use now.
Good. Yeah, I know it's fantastic. That's what we use in the P3 to Life program too for the little bit of sweetener. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
bake with
definitely
it and everything.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's good.
But so that I used it sparingly, like if I the sweet and low, like if I
Yeah.
was gonna make myself a ketchup or make myself a barbecue sauce, haha, they
Yeah.
weren't really, but
Gotcha. Just to give
um
a little bit of something there. That's very
yeah.
nice. When you did your injections, did you do any like B12 or lipo shots with that or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what did you think of that? Like, I know this was your first round, so it's hard to compare, but
Right.
did
It
you
is
feel
hard to
any
compare.
different, do you think, or
Well, I thought that I felt so good that for about 45 days after, I still did the MIC injections and the
okay.
B12 injections. I was still doing it.
Gotcha.
And I just got tired of it bruising my stomach, so I quit doing it. But I had done it for, more than a month afterwards.
Gotcha.
I
Like, was
don't
it better
know.
energy, or you're not really sure if it helped at
I
all?
think better energy. I don't think I lost any more weight because it's supposed to
Yeah.
speed that up.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think it
tend to be
did.
leery of that myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at what I lost,
Right.
it's right on target
It's
with
average.
women
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
average. So I would
Right.
say, from my small experiment, that
Yeah.
don't do it because you think you're going to lose weight faster. I did
Yes.
it for energy, and like I said,
Yeah.
I felt amazing the majority of the time that I was
That's
on the
good.
HCG.
That's really good. That's really cool to hear. Thank you for that. So, and that's good to hear just of what you did for P2 because people are always curious about that. There's so many different schools of thought on doing strict simians or not, or what
Right.
might happen. And so, yeah, it's good. You had it, for the most part, it seems like it was actually fairly close to it, but you had a few different
Yeah.
foods. And
There
so,
were there were
yeah.
so I don't know why, but I was like insanely craving sushi, sashimi.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of days, and I couldn't have my favorites, tuna or salmon, but I ate white tuna, and I ate yellowtail because they're
Gotcha.
light colored.
And sashimi, yeah. Nice.
I did that, and I used amino acids as instead of soy sauce.
Gotcha, yeah. Like
Um,
Bragg's aminos or something.
yeah, I did
Sure.
use a little bit of wasabi, a teeny bit. I probably
Okay.
shouldn't have, but I did. And I
Yeah.
did eat some of the radishes, the shaved radishes.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
radishes are in protocol.
I didn't notice anything negative on the scale with that.
Sure, yeah. That's great. That's good to hear. So would you say that like the first week of HCG, like was that like was there a transition period for you with the diet at all, like getting used to it, or did it kind of feel like smooth sailing the whole time, or
No, my husband has commented that, so we had a downsizing at the company that I was working for, and I lost my job. I had ordered the HCG. I was going to go on it, and I
yeah.
was going to start that like Thursday or Friday, and I got laid off. I was expecting it coming, and it was
Wow.
a blessing because you got to wrap your mind around this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really pressure job and worked huge hours, and you have to be prepared, or you're gonna set yourself up for failure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I lucked out that I lost my job because so I had a couple weeks. I did have to travel during that time for a couple interviews, I was scared to death that I was going to do something bad. Like I had to eat like chicken patties from Wendy's because there was no, I was gone
Yeah.
24 hours. I had to travel with my syringes and pray to God that the TSA guys weren't going to take them away from me. But
Yeah.
but I can't emphasize enough that you need to take the time to prep. And even if you're working, you have to wrap your head around being prepared to eat what you're supposed to eat. And the only way you're not going to feel bad about this is like a few days before I started, I made all these little baby meatloaves in muffin tins with like bell pepper and onion and ground turkey. I made little egg white omelets. Oh, I ate eggs too.
Yeah,
I
those
did
are
eat
great
eggs.
ideas too. Yeah.
So I had all that stuff prepared, and then I bought one of those seal a meal things that, do the vacuum sealing, which I'm
Yeah.
addicted to that thing. But
Cool.
I got my scale, my digital food scale, and measured out portions of all my proteins and vacuum sealed them and froze them. Some that
Nice.
I cooked that I could just take and open up and eat if I was traveling or something. But so I'd cut up an apple, a whole apple, and sprinkle cinnamon all over it and put it in a baggie. And if I was going somewhere and knew that I'd be caught out and maybe couldn't eat or go to the movies and feel sad because everybody's eating something, I'd have something.
That's
So that took
smart.
some forethought.
Good. Yeah, you're right. I feel like that's kind of one of the number one things to doing well on the diet is on occasion, most of the time, most people read a little about the diet and realize that, okay, this is something that I need to like spend some time reading about first and preparing. But on occasion, like a person will be like just heard about it and they're like, I want to order it tomorrow. Like, is this okay to eat on the diet? Like, I'll get an email, where they just
No,
really
that
haven't
was
spent
me.
any time.
That was me.
Oh, yeah.
I went to California to see my sister and her husband for 4th of July, and
Yeah.
I was probably bigger than I've ever been in my life. And I was
Yeah.
always the teeny one in the family, and she looked
Yeah.
freaking amazing. It killed me. And her husband looked amazing. And they had been on hCG and they'd had it
Gotcha.
off for like almost a year at that point, and I couldn't
Nice.
stand it. I'm like, all right, I have to do this. Tell me all about it. So they told me, but not enough. I'm somebody that jumps in the pool and then looks to see if there's water. So I didn't really think it all the way through. So I did
Gotcha.
get all this thinking I can do this. I got it.
Yeah.
And I did underestimate. I bothered my sister so much that we used the same doctor.
Yeah.
The counselor and the nutritionist both called me that day because she called them and said, could you please talk to her? She's driving me crazy.
Oh, funny.
Can I do this? Can I eat that? What if I do this? Can I
Right.
put lotion on? That was the
Yeah.
other thing, is that what this clinic did not preclude you from using lotions and body oils and stuff. But
Gotcha.
because I'd read so much about that, I didn't listen to them, and I was super careful with the oils.
Gotcha. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know what? Maybe it doesn't matter, but
But maybe
you
it
feel like better
does.
safe than sorry. Like, is it gonna kill me to not use an oil-based lotion for a few weeks? Probably,
Right.
you know what I mean? So,
Right. No, that was
yeah.
my thing. And so after that, then I went out and I Googled like which lotions don't have.
Yes.
So I did
I
all
get that
that.
question a lot. Do you recall by chance what products you ended up using, like any name brands or no?
Oh my
For
God.
that. You guys can get like aloe vera based oil free lotions. Like that's a good suggestion. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to
so
remember. There was one. What was it? It's one that you buy like in the drugstore, and I can't even think about it right now what it was.
well, it's
The
okay if it
oil
comes
place.
to you.
And there's ones for your face and stuff.
Yeah, but there are a lot more oil-free moisturizers out there these days, so
Yeah.
it's not really so challenging anymore to
Nope.
do that. So
Nope.
there's also this product called Corn Huskers lotion that's also oil-free. We'll put links to those at least in the show notes. So, and I actually do have like a special little PDF download of like different makeup and things like that are oil-free. But it's one of those things, and I'll put the link to it for you guys to download if you want. It has brand names and stuff and products. But just keep in mind, like, you don't need to overthink that. Like, it's much more important that you just, research the diet and do the food aspect and don't freak out over whether or not, your eyeshadow has oil in it. Like,
Right.
that's
You
a
have
waste of
enough
your
stuff to
time.
freak out about.
Yeah, exactly. That's a waste of your time. Like, don't freak out over that. So, very
The
good.
other thing I used in P2 that I don't remember if I got from you, no, I might have gotten it from the clinic, was I used MCT oil for my
Oh, okay.
tablespoon of oil.
Oh,
And
you did. Okay.
yeah, because I figured I might as well get something really good out of it, right? So I used
Yeah.
MCT oil that I ordered online from a health
Yeah.
food place. And it's like I made pretend stir fry. I made my husband real stir fry, and then I made mine with a little chicken broth and a little oil, but stuff like that when I needed just a little bit of oil.
Gotcha. And that was on P2. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so that's actually significant. You used a tablespoon of MCT oil a day
yes,
on P2. Okay,
yeah.
that's good to know too.
Which was over
Especially,
100 of my calories, but
yes,
they
yeah.
strongly recommended it.
Great. And obviously it was fine. You had good weight loss. You've been
Hmm.
maintaining a long time. So I think for me that's kind of the proof in the pudding there. So and that honestly MCT or coconut oil, some people use that. It goes a long way.
Yeah, you don't
You
need that
probably
much.
only use it like a teaspoon or a little more than that for like a meal maybe. Like it goes a long way for sautéing and it does help a lot.
Like they have these shakes, and they were saying to put it all in the shake, and I thought that's stupid. First of all, I don't really like those shakes, and the second is I'd rather use it as a little flavor. I would add to red wine vinegar and a little garlic, and I'd make my salad dressing out of it too. So, or
Nice. That
lemon,
sounds
and
good. Yes. Yeah, or like you said, sauteing vegetables because then you can
yeah,
get the browning more easily. And
yeah.
because we're doing right now, you guys, I have lots of P2 recipes that I'm adding now to hcgchicarecipes.com. You guys can check that out. But we're doing a variety of AP recipes, which is alternate protocol, things that might involve a little bit of MCT or coconut oil and
Mm-hmm.
other vegetables. And then SP recipes, which are like the original strict
Simeon.
protocol of Simeon's. And that you cannot use oil. And I've been researching everywhere, like, okay, how to like cook vegetables without oil, how to bake vegetables without oil. And like, it's possible, but it's hard. It's so if you can have a little bit of that oil, that just makes your life so much easier. So, and that's nice to hear that it worked fine for you too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you mind going back in time a little and just sharing like how your weight gain came about? You mentioned that you were always like the small one in the family.
I
How
was
did that
so
happen?
teeny. I was super super teeny. I can remember like in high school, I just wanted to weigh 100 pounds.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you were tiny. So and was that most of your life? You were just always
the
small.
majority of my life, yeah.
Gotcha.
So I have Crohn's disease,
Oh,
and
you
so
do.
yeah, so on and off, I've been on huge doses of prednisone. I'm in complete remission now, but
Wow.
chemo rounds because they use chemo for Crohn's a lot,
Wow.
and prednisone, and I put on a ton of weight to prednisone, and
Yeah.
because I was like on 80 milligrams a day, and then
Wow.
I lost it. Um, I had a tragedy in my family, and I
Wow.
just quit eating, lost a bunch of weight. I was widowed, and
Wow.
then I had the hysterectomy and the hormones and stuff, and then I put it all back on, and
Gotcha.
yeah. So
Wow. So how about how much weight did you gain, would you say?
um, I went from 103 pounds to the 154 pounds.
Wow, my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah, and prednisone, like you said, that because prednisone is essentially cortisol,
Hmm.
and we all need some cortisol, but when you have high cortisol, it causes weight gain. And then with these types of treatments, like you said, 80 milligrams, that's going to cause weight gain because it's just so much cortisol, you know?
Kind of messed
So,
with my immune system. Plus, my endocrine system, as far as even losing weight, it became super, super hard, which
wow.
I honestly think that the hCG was probably one of the best things I could have done for my body to kind of give some things a rest, let
Yeah.
some things that never work overwork, to kind of,
Yeah.
um, and I think that, I think that having Crohn's disease, they test for celiac. They always test for celiac, which is, a gluten
Right.
a disease, so you
Yeah.
can't have wheat.
Yeah.
And just because you test negative for it doesn't mean you're completely intolerant to it. And I was a bread monster and
Were
baked
you?
good monster. Oh, bread, French bread, sourdough bread. Oh, the best. Rather have that than steak. And I had suspected for a long time that I shouldn't be eating it just based on where I had gained weight and even when I'd eat, I would like blow up like I was 9 months pregnant. And
Wow.
I am gluten free. I've been gluten free for the 8 months, going on 9 months now.
Gotcha. Have you
Yeah.
had it at all since then, like on an occasion, or no?
Nope.
And like, no.
Nope.
That's good. Stay away from it.
Yep.
I'm the same way. I cannot have it. It causes severe pain if I have it now.
And
And I used to love bread.
and it makes me itch, and I have a
Interesting.
perfectly flat stomach now. Perfectly flat no matter
Wow.
what I eat because I don't eat wheat.
The stuff, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, can I ask you about your Crohn's a little bit? Like
Sure.
the how did that like when did that kind of come onto the scene? What symptoms did you notice that made you
I
realize
was
something was wrong? And
so I was I
what?
think around 22 years old.
Okay.
Um and I'd always had stomach aches and things like that, but it got really bad. And I thought it was stress being in college and stuff like that, but just going to the bathroom nonstop like water to the point where
Wow.
I'd have to be hospitalized and be on IVs just to bypass,
Wow.
not eating for a while,
Oh
just
my gosh.
nonstop going to the bathroom all the time,
Wow.
and blood and all the other gross things that come out with that. So
How
I
awful.
was diagnosed at 23,
Okay.
and I was on all kinds of medication and the prednisone, and I went into remission probably in my early 30s until I was 39, and I went through fertility treatments unsuccessfully.
Oh.
But that was probably what else made me gain weight. So I went through
Oh.
fertility treatments, and that I think threw my body into a mess again. And so I came
Oh.
out of remission so badly that that's when I went on the chemotherapy and the 80 milligrams of.
Wow.
So I was on chemo for
Was
6 years.
your remission spontaneous or was it
No,
like
it
did
was from
you
medication and from the
okay, so you were
prednisone.
that
But
you got better?
yeah.
Oh,
And
the
then I
remission.
went on the chemo and the more prednisone when I was early 40s,
Gotcha.
and achieved remission like at about maybe 45 years old. And
Okay.
knock on wood, and
Still,
yeah,
that's good because that's horrible. I'm
yeah,
so glad you've had those periods of it being better, you know.
yeah. And having an autoimmune, anything with inflammation. So
Hmm.
what the other good thing about one of the other really great things about the hCG diet is that you're really pretty much cutting out everything that is an inflammatory
Yeah.
thing to put into your body, like lectins and stuff like that. The only
Yeah.
inflammatory that I was still eating was nightshades, right?
Yeah.
Tomatoes and
Hmm.
peppers, but not that much of them.
Right. Yeah, such tiny amounts. I know, like you said, it's actually an opportune time to discover food intolerances and to
Unbelievable.
find out if you feel, because sometimes I think we eat just how we eat, and we don't even know that like how we digest and how we feel isn't normal. We're just like, oh, that's normal. And then like you
Exactly.
do the HCG and you're like, whoa, I feel better.
Well,
Like,
I'm so dumb. I'm like saying to my sister, how am I going to know if it's dairy or wheat? Because I suspect it, and was never
yeah.
brave enough to cut either one of them out.
Yeah.
But I viewed this. So my mantra every day in P2 was, I was going to start with only doing 28 days,
Yeah.
or is it 23, 20, whatever, the
Something like
20.
that. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my mantra was, you can do anything for 20 blah 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 days. You
Yes.
can do
Yeah.
anything for it's like
Yes.
you can do the standing on your head. And the other thing that I embraced was, this is a cleanse. It wasn't even really a diet. It was a cleanse, and I was going to listen to my body.
That's good. Yeah. No, I love that advice because it is true. It's a perfect time for that. And I also like your idea that if you're new to the protocol, you guys, and you're overwhelmed, like this was me too, kind of a little bit. I did actually commit to a 6 week round when I did my first round, but my eating was so off. Like I was a sugar addict. I was like,
Horrible, me, horrible.
yeah, and when you're in that state of mind, like you said, you're like, well, I could do this for this many days, but I had no intention of changing my eating long term. Like, and it
Me
wasn't because
either.
I didn't want to. It's because I had already tried so many times and it was failed, and I didn't see like how I could actually do that.
Me either.
So that wasn't part of the plan, and that's okay. It's like it's okay if you're not mentally there, but if you just like you said, commit to 3 weeks or for whatever you can mentally handle, you can always do it longer after that in
That's what I
order.
did. I committed
Cool.
to the 20 whatever days, and I
Yeah.
thought, I can do this. And
Yes.
I started feeling better and better the longer you're on
That's
it, the
great.
better you feel. I know that sounds
Yes.
crazy to anybody that's just starting this, but you do.
Yeah.
The longer you're on it, the better you feel. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
stay on it longer than the 40 days,
Right.
but,
Yeah, exactly.
but then I thought, you know what? Why don't I just do this 40 days? Then I don't have to go through a second round, and I don't have to do the load and all that.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I never went in with an attitude I wasn't going to eat bread anymore, or I wasn't going to eat
Mm-hmm.
candy anymore. I had no intention of doing that. I
Right.
had every intention of going back to all of that.
Yep.
And during that time, I just listened to my body and realized I don't need this. I
Mm-hmm.
feel really good, and I sure like how I look in the mirror.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. I really do because, I think sometimes we tell ourselves that like, well, I need to like plan all of this in advance and like commit to like changing my life forever. And then for some of us, I think for some of you guys that works, but for a
Not
lot of
me.
us, yeah, that's just terrifying because I'm like, but I crave this every day. Like I don't see how I can live without this. So what's neat is that you can trust the process that as you go through it, you don't have to commit to all that. It's going to naturally become it's going to become an option to you as you go through the process. It's like as Linda said, how you feel is going to start changing, and then you're going to be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm feeling like I could do another couple weeks on this program. And then when you're done, you're like, I feel like I could continue not eating bread for a few weeks. Like, I think it feels doable right now, whereas it didn't feel doable when you started. And so it's okay, like, to
That's
let
so
that,
true.
yeah, let it be that organic process.
That's
Don't let
exactly what
yourself,
it was. It
yeah,
flowed naturally. There wasn't, I didn't set these things to myself. You can't ever do this again. It was, let's
yeah,
play this by ear. Let's see
right,
how this goes. And I realized, oh my
yeah,
God, I'm sleeping better. Just, I haven't taken it. I have really bad allergies. I haven't taken an allergy pill or used my inhaler in the 8 months. And I don't
wow,
need Advil or Aleve. I have arthritis, because I'm old.
yeah,
Um, I haven't needed it because my arthritis is better because of taking
really.
those inflammatory things out of my diet.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
really significant. That is great. Yeah, so you guys don't let that stop you. If you're not like, I'm not all in yet, I'm only like a couple toes in, that's okay.
that was me.
Start with the two toes and wade in gradually. Yeah, and that change will happen. Like you said, you've been maintaining 8 months now.
Hmm.
Why don't we actually start talking about your phase three and then
Okay.
maintenance? How did you approach phase three when you got off of HCG?
Well, I think I've read this in a lot of your, and seen this in a lot of your interviews. You're terrified of P3. It's just,
Yeah.
you'd think you'd be so happy. First thing I ate was an avocado. I think most
Yeah.
people say they ate an avocado.
Uh-huh.
Um, I, like I said, I've had a lot of friends and family that have done this, and they couldn't. The ones that have been successful and kept their weight off for a long time, all said you got to take P3 even more seriously than, well, not more, but as seriously as
Mm,
P2, or you're going to fail. You're going to gain it all back,
yeah.
and quickly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
I took baby steps. The nutritionist at the clinic that I went to was really great. She was there for me. Like 2 days before I was getting my last injection, she called me and we went through what my next steps would be. And she had like sample menus out for me and
Great.
where she thought I should be in week 1, my target for carbs, my target for protein, my target for fat, week 2, week 3, a kind of a range of. I know the Simeon protocol didn't have like calories for P3, but
Yeah.
my nutritionist had calories,
Nice.
and so I layered in the calories up
Gotcha.
till I got to the end.
Do you mind sharing? Do you recall like what the calorie allotments were each week? Or
Yeah,
I know it's been a while, but
yeah. So I started with, I want to say, like, well, the calories I think were started at, I think, 1,000 calories the first week, and I
okay.
think it was um, 25 grams of carb, always the 100 grams of protein, which I always had a tough time getting to.
Mm-hmm.
And the fat, I think, was at 30%.
Okay.
And then the second week, it was 1,050 calories, and the carbs went up by 10 grams. The fat stayed at 30, I think, the whole
Sure.
time.
Gotcha.
And then the
Cool.
third week, it was 50 grams of carb, which is kind of what I try to stay at now
Yeah.
every day. 50 grams of carbs, 1,150 calories. And
Okay.
then week 4, when I was out of
Phase three.
P3,
Mm-hmm.
I think she said that I should stay at like 1,250 calories. And maybe that's too low, and maybe that's why I've still lost weight. But,
Oh, yeah.
I thought about that. But,
If you're okay with that, that's fine.
well, I wouldn't have been if I still ate the stuff that I used to eat,
Yeah.
you know? And so because I don't eat bread now, I have been baking gluten free. I've been eating a lot of like almond flour.
Yeah.
Um, so if I want a treat, it's with either agave or honey. Put like maybe a tablespoon in a whole recipe, and then fruit
Gotcha.
as the rest in the. But so I'm still having some stuff, but because it has to be limited because it's only in my universe and not when I'm going out, I think
Yeah.
it's easy to keep it that 1,250 calories. If I'm hungry or on a different day, like I'll
Right.
eat popcorn again and stuff like
Gotcha.
that. But
That's nice. It's nice to hear what foods you can have in maintenance, you know. And I love that your nutritionist. I think that's a real key to phase three and to like starting off on the right road to maintenance is you said you discussed
baby
with her
steps.
before you started, yeah, that there was a gradual introduction of calories and macros, and that it was planned out in advance. And for any of you guys out there who are doing hCG more on your own, and you're not doing it with the clinic, or if the clinic that you have doesn't have a phase three program, which many of them don't, I do have my own phase three program now. You guys can check that out because it's the same type of premise. It's at p3tolife.com, and it's the same thing where the calories gradually increase and the macros gradually increase, and it's fully structured. Because that is really the best chance. It's hard when you enter that phase, like you said, it's so important. And then when you just really don't have any specific plan at
Guidance, yeah.
all, outside of knowing that it's supposed to be low carb, there's just so
I
much.
I forgot to mention that she also layered in when you could have dairy, when you could have beans or peanuts and stuff.
Gotcha.
Dairy was the last.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, those are
grains,
good.
like she also gave me a chart that was like limited, like what you shouldn't have at all week 1,
Yes.
limited, or you can just have, and then every week would add things in, which I thought was really good because it helped me realize what it is I shouldn't be eating, just for my own
Gotcha.
body, not because somebody told me I couldn't have it.
Right. So it seems like it kind of intuitively taught you just what to eat in regular life long term.
Yeah,
Huh. That's great. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah. So that you guys, yeah, again, p3tolife.com, same, it's a structured program for phase three because the more ladies I talk to who do that or follow something structured through a clinic, those are the ones who are stabilizing and who are maintaining, are the ones that have a specific plan. I've seen it over and over. Um, you know, I did, I made it work myself, like, because I didn't have that one. I did it on my own when I was doing the diet. But I struggled in P3 and I had to do a lot of correction days because I didn't know enough at that time. So it's not like it's impossible, but because I didn't have a plan and I didn't really know what made for things to stabilize well, it was tough. It was tricky, and I had to correct a lot, you know.
I
So
didn't have to do one steak day,
that is
not
so
one.
fantastic.
Yeah,
And you, it sounds like you actually continued losing,
yeah, I
probably.
did. I did.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's cool.
And I
And
wasn't trying. I wasn't hungry. I
yeah,
was eating, um and like I said, now maintenance wise, I mean, uh, I will eat a brownie, but it's made out of almond flour and organic non-dairy chips, and it's just I'm very intentional and really thoughtful of if I am going to have a goodie. So it's not like I don't have goodies. Yeah, I have goodies
nice.
if I want
Yeah,
goodies. It's just very different than what I used to do because it matters to me. I laugh thinking about it because it sure didn't a year ago. It matters to me what goes in now.
That's awesome.
everything is with intention.
That's great. I love that. And you guys, you heard it from her mouth. She can have a brownie, a healthy made
Hmm.
brownie now and then, a little popcorn, a little honey, a little agave fruit. So those are
Yeah,
all, because sometimes some women think that like they're going to be barred from anything that tastes like anything other than broccoli for life after the diet, but that really doesn't have to be the case if you do it like Linda's
yeah,
doing with intention. So
yeah. It's just
that's great.
plan them, and there's a lot of great. It's just we're lucky at a time where paleo's in, because
Yes.
really,
Yeah.
honestly, there's a lot of good things you can eat paleo, which I thought was the most stupid thing
Oh
until
yeah.
I went through this.
And now you're a
I would
convert,
want
huh?
to eat like a caveman, but
Yeah.
I eating like a caveman, the inflammatory stuff and weight gain, it just doesn't happen if you eat like a caveman. And you
Yeah.
can still have yummy stuff. Caveman
Yes.
recipes. There's a lot of good paleo cookbooks out
Cavemen
there.
had paleo brownies, okay?
There you go.
I'm sure of it.
I'm positive.
I know that's what they were eating in their cave. That's too funny. No, that's great. Can you give us an example, just maybe like today, now in phase 4 maintenance, of like a sample day in your life of eating? Like what meal you would eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or snacks, or just to give us an idea?
So today I had some coffee with skim milk and a little bit of erythritol. I never know how to say
Erythritol.
it. That fake,
Erythritol. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I had some gluten-free oatmeal, which I don't eat a lot of because I found that even oats affect me. I don't feel that
Okay.
great from them, but I was just like dying for oatmeal today.
Okay.
I had, I don't, you probably don't know, Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is like a Subway.
Okay.
So they make unwitches, so
Ah,
they're really nicely bound in lettuce. So I had
cool.
a turkey and tomato unwich for lunch
Unwich. Cool.
with actually a couple gluten-free potato chips.
Ooh.
I had an orange. And for dinner, I'm going to have, I already know because I made it yesterday, roast chicken with a quarter of a sweet potato, and some baked apples.
Oh, that sounds really good. Nice. Do you typically have mostly just kind of like 3 square meals and then not do
No,
much
I eat all
snacking,
day.
or
I
you're
eat
like,
all
nah,
day.
I snack throughout the day with all of it. Cool.
Yeah, I eat all day. For some reason today, I'm looking around my office to see what I have. I haven't even wanted popcorn today, so maybe the turkey filled me up or something. But I
Gotcha.
always have snacks around. People, I'm famous for that. People always know they can come in my office. I have dates in here, like if I'm dying for something sweet, I have
Ooh, dates
dates.
are really sweet. I love dates. Yeah,
And that's
I
another
find
thing you
dates.
can bake with that
Mm-hmm.
you won't miss sugar because dates are so sweet.
Yeah, that's great. And you guys, just to clarify, these are all things that you would
You
have in
can't
a
tell.
phase 4. Yeah, just to make sure we all know. Not phase 3, those are still going to be too high sugar and carb for phase 3. But yeah, for phase 4, the Laura bars, I don't know if you ever eat Laura bars. Those are, they're made with like dates and cashews. That's like all they are, and like
Yeah,
cinnamon or
I eat
something.
one similar to that. It's just dates, egg whites, and
Cool.
they're
Yeah,
called, I
that
have
sounds
one
good.
right here.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh, I haven't seen that one. Red, R
Oh,
E
they're
D
so
D.
good.
Okay, you guys can check that REDD if you're listening. It's a little protein bar she's showing us. It has what's in it? Egg whites, dates.
Egg whites, dates, it's got 10 grams of protein, 11 superfoods, gluten
Cool.
free.
Nice.
It has, let me see.
That sounds similar to like the RX bar. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
ever
oh
had
yeah,
that.
that's the one I was trying to remember. It's just like the
RX
RX,
bars,
only
those are
this
pretty
one
much
tastes
just
better.
egg whites. Yeah, probably because it has dates.
This is
I,
better. This has a
cool.
little agave, has
Cool.
a little bit of cocoa, pumpkin seed, vegetable, glycerin, chia,
That's great.
zinc, calcium. Doesn't sound yummy, does it? But it is.
Well, but you're like, it is. It tastes good. That's great. No, it's so nice to hear that it's been 8 months of you maintaining. You're having, like you said, some sweet potato, a few chips here and there, dates, little whatever, all that stuff. That's great. Now, are you actually tracking your calories? Or are you eating more to hunger now these days?
I'm still afraid, so I
You
anything that
track.
goes in my mouth goes
You
in
do track.
Fitness Pal. I
Yeah,
do. I
I mean
track.
that's okay. Yeah,
But
whatever works for you.
but most of my friends don't. They say that because they did the maintenance and they
Yeah,
know how much they should eat in a day, they don't track their calories.
yeah,
I do. And
yeah,
the other thing I did, I kept a journal during my hCG. It was a little control thing of everything that I ate, how many, all
yeah,
my macronutrients and all that stuff,
yeah,
what my weight was, how I felt.
yeah.
I, and it's funny when I look at how controlling it was in the beginning and like P2 versus like when
Mm-hmm.
you get to the end, like you got this.
Yes.
But I think if I had to do a second round, I would do that again. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was like a little security blanket. I even
Yeah.
traveled with my little journal.
Well, I think it's interesting how we each respond differently to different things, and I think it's really whatever makes you feel the most free. So it's like I weigh pretty much every single day.
Oh,
Even
I do.
I've been maintaining 5 years, and for some people it's like a terrifying thing, or like they feel trapped by it. For me, it actually gives me freedom because
Me
if
too.
I'm on the lower end of the scale, then I know, hey, I can indulge a little today if I feel like it. Or if I'm on the higher end, I'm like, okay, I'm going to rein it in. If I have no idea, I
That's how
kind of
I
never
am.
know if it's a day I can be more free or not. Can I have french fries today or not? Like, I'll be anxious because I won't know where I am. So for me, it's freeing. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I weigh every morning. Just
yeah.
and I weigh the same way that I did when I was doing the injections, like right when you
Yeah.
first get up after you go to the
Yes.
restroom and
Uh-huh. Yeah. No,
um
and yeah, and that's fine. And then for some people, it ends up being a bad thing, and that's okay. Because, like, for me, actually, the longest time with tracking calories, I didn't. I was afraid to track calories. This was already when I was in maintenance. I didn't know how much I ate. I knew I was maintaining, right? But yeah, so I was maintaining because I weighed myself, so I knew that what I ate worked. But I had a mental block with track. Like I was scared to know how much I ate because I felt like I don't know. It was like this irrational fear. Like if I know how much I eat, somehow that same food that is working, like I'll probably gain weight because like I
that's
just
so
felt.
funny.
I know it was totally irrational, and I kind of worked up the courage to just try tracking it because it's like it's hard to help people on my blog if they have no idea like what I'm eating like for maintenance. I was like, this would be nice to share with you guys. I finally tracked it, and I am able to eat a fair amount because of my CrossFit and stuff. So and so I did that for a while, and so now I kind of know about what level of maintenance is for me. And then after that, I just stopped tracking again. But yeah, but it was weird. I just that
That's
mental
funny.
block. I was scared to do it, you know. So and
Well,
then
I've
for other
come to the
people, it's good.
conclusion that almost anything you will eat outside of home, outside of vegetables, is about a bite is about 25 calories. Almost
Ah,
anything you can think of. You have
interesting.
a bite of something, even 4 times a day, that's 100 extra calories. 100 extra calories,
It's
30
true.
days, it's
Yeah.
3,000 calories, and 3,000 calories equals a pound.
Close.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. That's a
yeah,
cool way to think of it. That's simple too.
it is, right?
So, yeah, yeah. Well,
So when you
thank
think,
you
oh,
so
I'm just going to
much.
have a bite,
Right. Yeah, that can add up. Well, very good. Do you have any last tips just for maintaining that you feel would be useful for people to know, or have we kind of covered most of your?
um, I think I've been different than a lot of my buddies that have been through this that just go right back to how they were and then
Mm,
they'll do another round. Go right back
gotcha.
to where they were. It's as far as how they're eating. Then I
Yes.
don't have any friends that have gained it all back. I don't know why. Maybe I have control freak friends, but um but listen to your body. Because I my body was telling me stuff I wasn't listening because
Yeah,
I
gotcha.
couldn't believe that I really could do this.
Yeah.
And if you, like we talked about earlier, if you just take it in small chunks, doesn't have to be the rest of your life.
Yep.
It's a few days or few weeks, and you'll make your own decision. It's your own path. It's nobody else's path but yours. And it's a very, even though all the support and you helped me so much. I
Oh,
read your stuff. I,
I'm glad.
I, days I was going crazy and needed to know something, but it's still your own personal journey, and you need to like put your own stamp on how you're going to do it. There's certain rules you absolutely really should follow for the best success, and you've
Yeah.
got them all there in your
Good.
blogs and your videos.
Good.
love yourself, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I know it sounds super corny, but it's true.
Yeah, well, sometimes when you feel kind of ready for a little bit of that change, and then the organic process, like we talked about, you get more into that idea as the process goes on.
Yeah, but I
So,
mean, nobody can push you into it. Nobody
mm-mm,
can shame you into it. It
no.
has to be your own personal journey when you're ready, and it could be for health. My father passed away from complications from diabetes.
Oh,
He
wow.
was heavy, and he used to joke, I'm just gonna eat Snickers until my arms and legs fall off." Kind of sick, but he was a pretty funny guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he died at 72, and I thought, guess what?
Wow.
I'm on that path. Every time I
Yeah.
go get my blood test, my blood sugar was a little higher, a little higher.
Really?
Yeah. And I just thought, what am I doing? This is really dumb.
Right. Yeah.
So it wasn't because somebody wanted me to lose weight or even because of my clothes. It was because I decided I wanted to be here. So
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Linda. That was really helpful.
it was great
Yeah.
chatting. It was so neat
Yeah,
to be
you
able to
too.
talk to you in
I
person.
know. Oh, thank you. It was nice to hear your story too. I love hearing everyone's story. Everybody has like things come out of the woodwork too when I talk with you ladies. It's like, just these different stories and things you guys have been through and then how you've triumphed over it. I mean, I just feel like this is so encouraging for
Is
everyone
there a
else. So,
similarity to everybody that you've spoken to that has been successful or relatively successful?
oh, who's been successful?
Yeah, is there a thread, a theme to
I
success?
do. That's a good question. It does seem like you do have to mentally be in a place where you're fed up in some way. It seems like, um, for whatever reason, that you're ready for a change. But definitely the backgrounds people come from are very, very different. Like sometimes I'll tell people about how like, yeah, I was addicted to sugar, and then the interview guest is like, oh no, yeah, I don't care about sugar. I just got overweight from a health problem, and I'm like, wow,
Right.
I wish that was my problem, But I think, like you said, planning and just I don't know. There's like these little triggers. It almost seems like something kind of has to flip a little switch in your brain, and it's hard to say when that is for you personally. But it's like each person you get to that point, and
Yeah.
yeah. So anyhow, well,
Well, this
thank
is
you. Yeah, that
my
was
pleasure.
great.
My
Yeah, and for
pleasure.
the rest of you guys, all of the show notes, like any links or helpful information based on what Linda and I talked about today, will be in her show notes, and if you want to see any other interviews, we have dozens and dozens of episodes now. That's all at hcgchica.com/interviews. So you can see more of that. Some ladies tell me they listen to like one a day when they're on the protocol just to stay sane because, there's not really a lot of support for this diet. And so it's when you're in it, it's hard. And so you just need something to kind of make you feel like, yes, this is worth it. This is going to work. So
Well,
anyway.
Rachel, what I will say is that a couple girlfriends and my niece who had done this a couple of years ago, you were the first um, website they told me to look up. That you need her. You have to listen to her. You have to see her videos, and you have to read her
Oh.
blogs. So I did.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I could. I love doing this. I think it's so fun. So, well,
It
thank you for
shows.
your
It
time.
shows. Take care.
You too.